what is micro travel?
Micro travel is going somewhere typically for less than 24 hours and not spending the night at that destination. Like, I don't know about you, but when you go on a trip, do you ever feel like, okay, like I feel like I could go home now after like the first day?
This is Creator, the podcast from Matador Network. I'm your host, Ross Borden, and I believe creators are the future of all global advertising. So join me as I sit down with top creators to hear about how they got started, the challenges they've overcome, and the tips you need to become a full-time creator. All right, we're back with another episode of Creator, the podcast. Today we have Kevin Droniak joining us from New York City. Kevin, what is micro travel?
Thanks for having me. Micro travel is going somewhere typically for less than 24 hours and not spending the night at that destination.
I've always been a proponent of like getting a lot of travel done in a short amount of time, but you take that to a crazy an extreme. I would say like going and skiing in Colorado for the day and then coming all the way back to NYC. I even saw you go to Egypt for the day, to Rome for the day. So how did you get this idea? It's caught on. You have millions of followers, or almost 1 million followers across channels. Tell us about why you started doing this.
So a mixture of finding cheap flights and realizing that I have free will and like, why not? And I also am really close with my grandma, and she doesn't like when I go away for too long. And so it's like a compromise in a way to be able to see the world and at the same time be there for her, because I don't want to feel the guilt of her, wanting me to be home and I'm not home as much, because I used to travel for longer periods of time. And then I would feel bad because my grandma was missing me and I miss her. So then I started posting the quick trips, and people caught on and enjoyed the content. And so I built a little community, and that's also what has kept me going and wanting to do it more often, to feed the people what they want around the world, because I've created like a really fun community on Instagram and TikTok.
What was the first micro trip when you first had this idea and you're like, I'm going to go there for one day? What was the first place you went?
To Puerto Rico in 2016 actually. Yeah.
And then what was that like? You seem to have a blast in the video when you're doing it. Most people, if you're like, I'm going to go to Rome for the day, you're like, you're crazy. But then I watch your video, I'm like, oh, you actually got a lot done in that day. It looks pretty enjoyable. I'm sure you're tired after, but what is that actually like? Do you enjoy these trips, or are they just like challenges?
Okay, I love that you said challenges, because I do find it a challenge every time. So it just brings me so much excitement, honestly. Like going somewhere, yeah, it's like a challenge. It almost feels like a mission, because you land and you're like, okay, the clock is literally ticking. Like I don't have that much time here. So you don't waste any time. And when I go on a longer trip, let's say like for a few days even, I'm like, okay, like there's almost too much time. And then you're always like, okay, I could do this the next day, or like see that tomorrow. But like when you're doing a micro trip, like you have to just do what you're going to want to do. So there's no time to waste. And I love that, because I'm a pretty antsy person sometimes, like waiting around. And so it's like I get what I want to get done, and then I'm kind of ready to go home, honestly. That's where also the allure comes from me. Like, I don't know about you, but when you go on a trip, do you ever feel like, okay, like I feel like I could go home now after like the first day?
Yeah, we say in our family, like it's got to be on the other side of the earth to do more than a week anywhere. Otherwise, after a week, and we do like maybe not as much as you, but we cram in a lot in like 3, 4, or 5 days. So we're always ready to go home after a week. But I don't know if I could handle going to Egypt for one day.
I know, that was really pushing my limits. I was like, let's see how far I can push this. And also, I was tired for sure. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it's a 10-hour flight from New York. But since I found a cheap flight, I was like, this is my sign to just go, because as a traveler, like that's on everyone's list to see the pyramids at some point. And I didn't have too much interest in anything else there. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see the pyramids. And then once I see that, like I'm gonna be hopefully satisfied. And I was, and I'm like, okay, now it's literally time to go home. And I was honestly ready to just pass out on the flight. That's what's nice, because you're running around so much that by the time it's time to go home, you're like, okay, I'm ready for bed.
Right. I was gonna say you must be like professional plane sleeper too, because otherwise you'd be up for like what, 40 hours straight.
Yeah, no, I think that's vital if you're going to do this. Like, you need to fall asleep on a plane.
Are these business class flights you're taking?
You can find me in the back.
So you're a professional at sleeping in any seat on an airplane just because you started at 5 a.m. that morning and then ran all over Cairo.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're just exhausted by the end. So I'm just, once I put my head back, I'm just, good night.
Do you ever get stressed out though? Like you got to Cairo and like something's taking too long and you're like, literally don't have time for this, or like a flight delay or something like that where it actually did get stressful because you're like, I came all this way and what if half my day is taken on a delay?
Yeah, I've like been so lucky somehow with delays, like, because I think to myself every time when I'm sitting on the tarmac at JFK, I'm like, okay, this flight needs to take off on time so that I can land and like have a good day. And otherwise, I think I would, if it got delayed to a long period, I'd have to literally cancel the whole day trip because it wouldn't make sense. But like when I get to places, there have been hiccups where I'm like, oh my God, why am I here right now? And why did I put myself in this situation? Like I was in Ireland for the day in July and I got a flat tire and I couldn't do like a lot of the things I wanted to do.
Damn.
And then I just had to change my mindset and think like, okay, this is still fun. I'm like on the side of the road in Ireland. Like it's a little bit more exciting than just like being at home. And then I like met these Irish people that were trying to help me. And then I like changed my frustration about it and being like, okay, like actually, you know what? I'm in Ireland. I'm talking to the local people now, and it's like just part of the experience.
So you didn't like push it back a day. You were strict about that. If you booked the flight, you're going home no matter what on the original flight.
Yeah, I try to stay true to like, especially since I'm posting and like filming the whole thing. I'm like, I don't want to, part of me is like, okay, that'd be fun to change it. But also I look into it and it's usually like really expensive to change a flight
Right,
that
close
day.
to departure date.
Yeah,
that makes
and
sense.
with videos, I feel like it's just part of the video. It kind of makes it even funny that things can go wrong, and it's just makes it more
I mean,
entertaining
good
to me.
attitude. You're like, these nice Irish people are helping me change my tire. I'm kicking it with the locals.
Right? Otherwise, like I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have met those people. I'm probably not.
So Kevin, walk us through a day. Like for your 1 day trip to Rome. You went to Rome for 1 day. What does that look like? Like day, hour by hour.
Okay, so I land and I start to just get fueled with excitement, honestly, anytime I land somewhere, especially when I'm going abroad. And once the passport gets stamped, I'm like, okay, it's literally go time. In my head, it's like almost metaphorical because I hear the stamp and then I'm just like, it's almost like a race, like that when people are doing track and you hear like the gunshot or that's how it feels like in my head. And
With
then
the passport stamp. I love it.
yeah. And so I'm just, okay, like we're gonna just see what we can do the whole day. And I typically try to take public transport into the city. So with Rome, I got onto the train that takes you right into the heart of it, kind of close to the Colosseum, because that was like my main to do. And then before I went to the Colosseum, I was like, okay, I'm kind of hungry. So I wanted to get some pizza for breakfast, which was such a vibe. And then, once I was in the Colosseum, I spent like probably 2 hours in there just walking around because I read a bunch of books about it beforehand. I like to do that before a trip. I'm like, okay, let me like study up so I like fully appreciate the place and like the history. And then just soak that in. And then I was like looking things up because that was the one thing I had planned was the Colosseum. And then I was looking up on my phone because I had probably like 4 hours left before I had to head back to the airport. And I was like, okay, I could like go on this bike ride that I'll TikTok like things to do in Rome, like even when I'm there, like that day. And then this bike ride came up. It's this old like road where you could like bike through all these like ruins it's called the Appian Way. It's so cool. It's like right by the Colosseum too. And cool. It's like very like countryside Italy, which is crazy. It's like in the heart of Rome, and did that. And then it was time to head back to the airport. And I felt so fulfilled, but yeah, it was a pretty spontaneous like trip just because I just had the Coliseum booked and I was like, okay, what else is there? And then the bike ride ended up being the highlight, honestly.
Yeah, that I've never done that, and it sounds like I must have just missed it because I've been to the Colosseum a bunch of times. But Rome, I mean, it hardly gets better than Rome. Rome is
I
so
know.
freaking incredible. When you're like walking around, you're like, all this is real. Like this is all. It's not
Right?
Universal Studios. It's like constantly blows my mind that all of that is real, and it's just as it was. I mean, Rome is just an incredible, incredible place. I think it
Same.
blows everyone's mind the first time they go there.
Yeah.
So you probably have good advice for like, practical travel advice. So finding cheap flights, it sounds like you go for the stuff that's near departure date. Where do you find your cheap flights? Or what are you like on the hunt for in terms of like finding a new challenge?
Yeah, I'm always looking. I'm just when I'm bored or idle, I'm like, okay, let me check Google Flights, like what's cheap next month. I usually book out like 2 weeks in advance or 2 weeks to a month, and then I look at the world map and you could do the different toggles and toggle on like okay, like nonstop always because I don't want to be having a layover that would just mess things
Right.
up.
No time for layovers.
Yeah. And then if Google Flights is not really hitting or like sparking up my vibe, I'm like, okay, go on Expedia and they have like a nice like list of deals like in the near future. So those are my two platforms that I use. And I'm just, yeah, once I like see something that is below average, like with Egypt, it's typically over $1,000 to go there. And I found an 800 round trip and I'm like, okay, that's my sign. So I just use that as like the universe being like, okay, it's really cheap right now, like really cheap, but like compared to how it usually is. And so I'm gonna book it because I'm
And
impulsive like that.
hotels or Airbnbs, that's the real killer of travel costs. So you don't have to worry
Right.
about that. You're just you're pretty lightweight on the budget for these things.
Honestly, and usually I'm going somewhere and I'm doing free activities. I'm not really like spending a whole lot on the ground, so it's just the flight.
So this is extreme micro travel, but also extreme budget travel, if you think about it.
Yeah, no, I'm saving so much money and like doing what I want to do, and then yeah, when you just wake up, you're going to the hotel, you already did what you wanted to do, and you're just like, okay, like, did I have to spend the night here? I don't know. That's just I don't know if I'm alone here, but that's always my mindset.
Yeah, for sure. And so what about a place that you've been more than one day? Have you been on any trips where you're like, this one is not a day trip?
Yeah, I would say Japan.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Japan.
that's
There's
definitely not a day trip.
there's just so much you want to do and see and eat, so it's like that's not really a day trip. Or even Iceland, I just did as the day, and I've gone to Iceland a bunch of times for like longer periods, and I just like felt really like kind of sad leaving after the day because it's just so cool, and you just want to be there for a longer period. There's places like that.
What about brand partnerships? I see you've worked with what you did like one with T-Mobile where you went to Montana for the day. How did that end up happening?
Yeah, I manage myself, so I also manage my grandma. So that's kind of gotten me into like the brand partnership space where like people just slide into my emails and I'm just like, okay, if it aligns with like what I want to, talk about and like what I'm already doing. Like T-Mobile, I'm actually like a T-Mobile member and I've always been. So it's like, okay, this is like makes sense. Like other
Right.
cell companies will reach out and I've had to be like, okay, I don't actually use you guys, and so it doesn't make sense to me because then I have to switch my plan, and I like my plan.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And you actually started making videos with your grandma on YouTube. That's kind of how you started as a creator.
yeah. In 2012, actually, we're going way back. I started posting on YouTube with my grandma, and then we were like a YouTube duo. And I went to college, and it kind of shifted from there. And we took a bit of a break, and now we do our own things. So she's on TikTok and her own platform, and now I'm doing my own travel stuff. And it's funny, like we're an influencer little family. It's just me and her, but like, yeah, it's interesting that like she's an influencer. I've kind of turned into one. It's hilarious, honestly. Like I don't know
It
what
is
is going on in my
hilarious.
life. My life is so
What,
random.
what were the duo content you were doing with grandma when you guys got started in 2012?
We were doing a lot of car rides, so we would drive places, and then I would film her and our conversations in the car. And this was like I was so young that like a lot of the car rides were to my driver's ed classes because I didn't know how to drive yet. So she was like my chauffeur, and so we have always been close, and through that I was like, okay, let me like film this because she's so hilarious, and like started to post so often. So honestly, I've been posting weekly, I would say, since 2012, like on the internet.
I got to check out her channel. So what is her channel on YouTube?
She's just on TikTok and Instagram. It's just grandma_Droniak, and yeah, she's hilarious. You should definitely follow her.
Kevin, I noticed you mentioned that you manage yourself. Like you don't have a manager, you don't have a rep, you don't have a firm representing you. Why is that? And what have been some of the, key decisions going into that to handle all the business side of being a creator?
Yeah, I honestly love the back end side of things and, talking to the brands and, negotiating, having a say in everything. And I just think, having the self-discipline to do everything on my own has just like made me like enjoy it more and have like, I just like my toe, like to dip my hands in all of it and just having more control, and from managing my grandma for years now, it's like I have pretty good background in it now to just kind of easily have like processes in place that just make it kind of easy for me to manage myself.
Sure.
Too.
Yeah, it makes sense. Managing the real talent, grandma, for
seriously
years and years.
Yeah, she's top priority.
You've been a vet creator since 2012. How have you seen the game of a creator, content trends, like just like being a creator, the platforms themselves? How has that changed since 2012? Obviously it's changed a lot, but like what are some of the things that you've seen?
I think even like in 2012, no one even heard of like the word influencer, right? I feel like that was like a newer term. Yeah. So like when I was doing YouTube full time around that era when I was in high school, like it was just YouTuber and it was kind of a weird thing. Like when I would be posting all the time with my grandma, I would low key get bullied in a way, not like anything like that traumatic, but like people would be like, oh my God, Kevin's so weird. Like look at him talking to a camera. And now like in 2025, like everyone wants to do this and it's not a weird thing. Like when I film in public now, it's not something that people even like think twice about. And that's what's refreshing, honestly, the change of everyone being more open and just like, it's like kind of cool now, which is nice because a decade ago, it was a little strange to talk to a camera, and now it's just so normalized.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it is the norm. Everyone knows creator. Creator also wasn't a word, back then. Influencer and creator, and now like something like 65% of Gen Z want to become creators. That's like their number one thing they want.
Right, and I love that too.
I love it too because you're in control of your own destiny, and you like get out, you put yourself out there, and you take the risks, and you work hard, and like then you have complete freedom. I know a lot of people that they broke free from this like 9 to 5 job they hated, and now they kind of just do whatever they want, go wherever they want. It's like ultimate freedom. So
right.
And then what's next for you? What's on your hit list for your next micro trip that's coming up? Do you have anything booked?
Yeah, I have a few booked. The one that is, I just got shots for it actually because I needed to get a vaccine to go because I'm going to Kenya for the day.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
I was just there. That's
no
really
way. Wait, what did you do there?
We did safari. We did Kenya and
oh my
Tanzania
God.
with the whole fam. Yeah.
So you flew into Nairobi?
Yep.
Whoa.
And
okay.
I lived in Kenya when I was 21, so I've been back a whole bunch, and I'm obsessed with Africa and East Africa, and yeah, it's such an incredible country, incredible people. You're gonna love it.
Okay, you're getting me so excited. Wow. Okay.
Wait, so are you doing? I want to know your itinerary now. So Kenya for one day. Tell us about
for one day. Yeah. So again, I found a cheap flight, and I've been wanting to go to Nairobi for like a while. So that's like something where like I'll look at when the flights are cheap, and then I found one that is quote cheap compared to how it usually is. I think it was $1,000 round trip.
Is that Kenya Airways direct from
Kenya
JFK
Airways
to Nairobi?
Yeah, direct. So I'm just doing Nairobi National Park.
They have the Big Five there. I mean, it's a legit national park. Like it's incredible. I've been there before.
Okay, wait, this is really good because I haven't talked to anyone that's been to it. So this is music to my ears because I'm like kind of going blind in a way. I'm like, I don't really know, but.
And when you're flying to other places to go out in the bush, you literally fly out right. I mean, you can see elephants right there. They're literally right there next to Nairobi, which is this like sprawling metropolis.
Yeah.
And the park is right there.
Oh my God. No, I've seen the pictures where it's like the skyline is literally in the background and then you see
Yeah,
elephants
exactly.
giraffes. Oh my God. Wow. I'm really hyped now. I was excited, but yeah, I've not talked to someone face to face about it. So yeah.
You seem to be, pretty well traveled from all these micro trips and I'm sure a bunch of other stuff. If your passport only worked for the rest of your life in 3 countries, meaning you could only live, work, and travel in 3 countries, yes, including the US, what would the 3 countries be?
Oh. Okay, so I'll have to say the US, right? Because my
Okay.
grandma, that'd be pretty bad if I
Right.
just like
Yep.
abandoned her.
Abandon her? Yeah.
And I guess the rest of my family. But and then I'd say the UK.
Okay.
That would be another one where I just love the UK. And let me think. Japan. Yeah, I could have
Japan.
fun
Yeah,
just like
great
bopping
choice.
around those different places. And Japan has everything to me. So it's like, okay, I could go on vacations there and then have like maybe another life in the UK at some point. I don't really know, but
Where did you go in
Yeah.
Japan when you went there when it was not a micro trip?
I went to Hakone, I did Mount Fuji, Kyoto, kind of the basic spots as Americans do the first. I've been twice now, but the recent time was just Tokyo. But yeah, I want to see like Okinawa or like Southern or like even like skiing
Yeah.
there would be so sick. So
Hokkaido.
yeah, right. Have you done that? Have you done that?
Yeah, I have, but I
No
haven't been
way.
to Okinawa. I want to go to the south and do the beach tropical part of it. It really does have everything. It's just such an
Right?
incredible country. But yeah, Hokkaido, very highly recommended. Cool. Well, Kevin, thanks for coming on the show. We will be following your micro adventures. I'm going to go follow Grandma right now. Check her out.
Give her a follow.
But congrats on everything.
Wow. Well, thank you
I
for
love
having
this
me.
concept.
Yeah. Or would you
Yeah.
do one with your family or maybe by yourself?
By myself, sure, because I'm crazy with travel. Like I would love to do, and I have since I've had kids. And other business trips don't count, but like I haven't really done like solo travel since I had kids, and I have a 2-year-old and a 9-year-old now.
Aw.
Man, traveling with kids like it ain't going to no Kenya for the day. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
that.
you just can't.
It's way more hectic. Everything's more hectic. Everything's more exhausting. You can't sleep on the plane really, or at least my little one's hyperactive on the plane. So yeah, but I think like, you've kind of inspired me that I would like to do, I've been thinking like, I want to do a solo trip, but I can't be away from the fam for that long. Right. So this is maybe perfect. I could
This
go to
is-
like
yes.
Mexico City for the day. That would be that's like one of my favorite places. That would be a great place to go for the day.
Yeah, and you could even time it right so that you could go to bed and still say goodnight to your kids. Like you could say good morning and then get there at a reasonable time and do what you want to do and then be like, good night, tuck the kids in. That's the hack with this.
No, I love it. I love it because I've always thought people like spend too much time, and they also they go to Italy and they try to see like 6 cities. It's just go to one place, do it well. But there is so much you can do in one day, and you really prove that with your channel. So keep going, man. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. That's really nice to hear.
And then how can we find you for those who don't follow you online?
It's just my name, so at Kevin Droniak.
All right, Kevin. We'll
Okay.
see you online.
See you.
Creator the Podcast is produced by Matador Network. We are a leading global travel publisher focused on travel and adventure. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe. Every week, I interview a new top creator. New episodes are released every Tuesday on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere podcasts are found. Thanks for listening.